This program is brought to you by Hungry Jack's and Bunnings Trade.
Here we go, the Illawarra Hawks taking on the Sydney Kings. Now a genuine rivalry brewing between these teams. Thanks, of course, to a little bit of off-court action from the owners, which we love, of course, getting fired up in the media. That'll add some spice to this contest. But the Sydney Kings, they had a good win over Melbourne United last week, but Melbourne United didn't have Chris Goulding, their heart and soul. And the thing that worried me with that game was the high pace and the turnovers. The team that slows you down, the Illawarra Hawks. A team that makes you pay when you turn the ball over is the Illawarra Hawks. This is a well-coached team by Brian Goorjian, and I'm going to take them as the underdogs here. I'm also going to take them at the line here because anytime it's that close, I'm happy to play there. And always, the unders in a game like this. Brian Goorjian, defensive expert, will take the unders. Gamble responsibly.
Sydney Kings, Illawarra Hawks. This rivalry has reached boiling point.
And you talk about incredible. It's happened. Last beats first.
The Kings have got the job done. Sydney 102 over the Hawks 79.
And the Hawks have turned up the heat.
Tyler Harvey from the logo. And the Hawks win a Derby Classic by 3.
We're under their skin, you know, and we went in there and we beat their ass on their court.
Harvey hands it up. Oh, they're having some fun. So Sydney Kings in danger of being kept to less than 70.
And then we went into Melbourne and got them again. It's now watch us on TV. The finals come and you're not in.
For the first time since 2017, the Illawarra Hawks are playoffs bound.
Sparks have been flying off court too.
What he's done is so egregious to the fundamentals of our game. For mine, this speaks to character.
The stage is set. It's ready to explode.
Your round 2 Saturday NBL doubleheader starts right here, Kudos Bank Arena in Sydney. It is the Kings against the Hawks. You know, 80 kilometres separates these two clubs, Wollongong and Sydney, but they would prefer to be much further apart than that because it is a great rivalry. Each series they play for this, the Dr. Adrian Hurley Cup, but today they are playing for boasting rights because the banter, some would say feud, has gone to the next level, and we'll tell you how the two co-owners have really been at it this week. As we go to our commentators, Jack Heverin, Liam Santamaria and Pete Hurley. Boy, gentlemen, the fuse has been lit. I wonder what sort of on-court explosion we get this afternoon.
Thank you very much, Matty, and good afternoon to everyone. It should be on from the tip-off this afternoon. Liam and Pete, great to see you. And from an Illawarra perspective, Liam, we've only seen the one outing. A lot of expectation this year, but, gee, they look good.
They're impressive. Yeah, as you say, a lot of expectation on this team, but they ticked all the boxes in their opening game. Their offense, they didn't shoot the lights out, but everyone got a piece of the action, and their defence, as you would expect, was on point, and it'll need to be again today
and
as Sydney look to push the pace.
We talk about form coming in, Pete. There's no better form for Sydney than defeating the former champions, Melbourne.
Well, there's not. New roster, new coach. They started that game with so much excitement. We know the youth, the pace they're going to play in. They got some key outs, so this is a big challenge for them today.
Let's have a listen to Chase Buford, the coach of the Sydney Kings. He spoke with Matty a short time ago.
What's your owner said about the importance of winning this game?
Yeah, just, you know, that it's a local derby. We want to get the win. I think it means a lot to the people in the area, you know, local rivalry, and there's been some talk back and forth, so we're just excited to go back it up out on the floor.
How are you going to cover the absence of Jalen Adams?
Yeah, I don't think, you know, you can cover a guy like Jalen all by one person just stepping up. I think it's going to be a collective group. We'll have a few different guys hope to bring the same intensity he does defensively on the ball, and we'll be great behind it. And then offensively, hopefully just sharing the ball a little bit more, trying to attack as a unit more than just one person.
Enjoy the night.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Let's have a look at the DoorDash starting 5. DoorDash is your delivery MVP. You can head to the DoorDash app now and get $0 deliveries on orders over $20. Use the code word DELI.
Well, big outs for the Sydney Kings. RJ Hunter getting getting injured in the warm-ups. We'll touch on that later. No Jalen Adams. Wani Swakala-Bullock gets the start, looking for some defense against this potent offensive unit for the Hawks.
He continues to break all sorts of records in the NBL, Brian Goorjian. Tonight is game number 800 as a player or coach in this league, and he spoke with Matty just moments ago.
Well, Brian, a build-up unlike too many of your 800 NBL games so far. So does your pre-game speech write itself today?
I mean, our guys are motivated, and the stuff that goes on off the court when, you know, that's great to stir up the crowd and get people here. I think it's going to be a great game, and the focus of the team is always about, you know, performance and doing what it takes to win. That's where the game's won right here, and that's what we're here to do.
Some great signs in your first up win. What does improvement look like today?
Well, I just think a real important one tonight is Cooks and Martin are really good with the ball, and they have a spread court, and multiple guys can carry the ball. So defensive transition, getting back and being able to play our defense is key number one. And then obviously it's early in the year. Both teams missed those preseason games. It's getting your groups playing organized in the half court and getting good shots. And I think all of us are going through that process with the teams that were bunkered down in Melbourne and missed out in a lot of games. So we're really in game 4 now, our second regular season game. So just playing together better in the half court than we did in Adelaide.
Good luck.
Thank you.
There's the starting lineup for the Hawks. No change for Brian Goorjian's team. Wasn't Duop Reith impressive on debut? 18-9.
The big question here for Sydney, how do they cover the outs? We know they're deep, but that's going to be really tested for them here.
Well, it is, and big out late game in the warm-ups. RJ Hunter, who has now injured himself in pre-season in warm-ups and in the regular season. So if anything, he comes out of this one, he's just got to stop warming up and just start playing.
Meeting number 103 between the Sydney Kings and the Illawarra Hawks, but we can't remember a freeway series match that's been as spicy as this in the lead-up. Illawarra in possession in their white strip this evening. The Kings in their customary home purple strip. Sean Bruce into the starting lineup this afternoon. It's Jarrell Martin, who's such a factor for the Kings regardless. He's going to have to be this afternoon. Angus Glover's first look is off target. The officials, Chris Reed, Nico Fernandez, Daniel Batty. They go down to Duop Reith because it worked so well last week.
Couple of early looks for Duop Reith. One from mid-range, and there a catch in the low block, and he gets the Hawks off the mark.
It's knocked out of bounds. Wani Swakala-Bullock trying to be aggressive early. Let's get courtside to Matty Russell. Matty, have you got an octagon set up at Kudos Bank Arena to sort these two out?
Yeah, well, the owners have certainly been going at it, but the Sydney Kings owner, Paul Smith, he's more worried about his playing staff at the moment as Martin tries his luck from range. RJ Hunter, a last-minute withdrawal because of tendonitis to the knee. Sydney like that score. He assured me he's only out for one game. That comes on top of Jalen Adams, who's out with an ankle sprain. Between them, they combined for 27 points and 14 rebounds to open the season, so it's a big hole for Sydney to fill.
It certainly is, Matty. Thank you. They are going to be tested. Defensive possessions like that will be important. Bruce up top, combines with Jarrell Martin, who's on the move, but he's called for the charge.
Really good help from Tyler Harvey along the baseline there. He came off the man in the corner because he saw that ball coming to Jarrell Martin. You see him here, the Martin coming down the lane. Harvey, good awareness, gets to the spot. Geez, the contact was a little bit on the side, but the Hawks get the call.
I thought it was a tough call. He got there, but you're right, the contact was a bit on the side of him. And this is where it's a different situation for the Kings. We saw Jalen Adams, he's a playmaker and a scorer. Sean Bruce can no doubt score the ball, but he likes to facilitate first. The Hawks know that. It's going to be a different way that the Kings go about it without those two guys.
Bruce lost Jessup, and the next start drains it from the top of the key. His hot start to this NBL22 season continues. Glover, aggressive. Can't get his layup to go. Duop Reith, hand off to Jessup, same spot, same result.
Well, you can't leave him, Justinian Jessup, because we know once he starts feeling good, he can fill it up quickly. Angus Glover just a little bit slow.
this was the first play, Halls. Look at this beautiful action from the Hawks. Sean Bruce thinks it's a flex cut, but Jessup just comes right to the ball for the straightaway three. Beautiful misdirection play for the Hawks. And then this time he's coming from the opposite corner. Staggered screens for him to run off. And they have Jessup up and about.
17 points in their round one win over Adelaide. Had a little trouble shooting the three ball. He's 2 of 2 to start with. Here's Chase Buford.
Find shooters, all right? Got to help each other out. No falling down. Get up, find them in transition. Let's eliminate the easy ones. Coming to Omaha. Rel, you're in trail. X, you're low. Swaka, you're right here. Glove, SB. Swing it. Go get him. SB, glove, curl it. Rel, take it back to SB on the DHO. SB, look to turn the corner. X, you and Swaka exchange here. You guys set an invader for glove on the weak side. Let's guard, fellas, let's guard. Defense on 3. 1, 2, 3, defense.
6-0 run here for the Hawks.
Well, they've been good. Obviously, we talk about Justinian Jessup, and this was the key for him last year. When he started games well, he could often go up and put some big numbers on the board. When he missed his first couple of shots, he often goes into his shell, but this is a really good start. And if you're Angus Glover, he missed a layup on the offensive end. You've got to come down and lock in, especially if you're guarding Justinian Jessup, who just hit one. They're going to run something straight back for him if he's feeling good, and he did when he knocked that one down.
Second game in charge, Chase Buford. Won't be too pleased with that possession out of the timeout. Antonius Cleveland thought about it, checked the feet, and then off target. Angus Glover brings the ball up the floor, now hands off to Bruce. Jarrell Martin's three rattles out. Just not dropping for the Kings early. They're 1 of 5 from the field to start the game. Reith backing down and then turns to the right hand. Sydney trail by 6. Bruce swings to Angus Glover, gets a good look from there.
That's a really nice pass from Sean Bruce. You heard in the timeout, Chase Buford talking about Bruce coming off those ball screens, be in attack mode, and great vision from Bruce to find the open shooter on the opposite side.
Born and bred in Wollongong, Angus Glover. Now taking his chance with the Kings as foul's been called. Justinian Jessup,
here we go.
Not too happy with things. It took us all of 4 minutes.
This is what we want to see as we talk about the rivalry that's heated up and the bit of back and forth. First, nice little drop-off pass, and geez, not a lot there that Xavier Cooks did wrong. But Justinian Jessup just letting Sean Bruce know about it. And this is inevitable because you've got all the talk from not the players during the week necessarily. They've had their say on the rivalry. You've got the guys above you having it. It's going to happen. And there you go. There's Dory Kadahi. He'd be happy with Justinian Jessup.
Let's get courtside to Matt Russell.
Well, it all started with a bit of banter between the two owners. Paul Smith labelled Illawarra as scumbags and idiots. We thought, well, he's trying to talk up this rivalry to get people through the door. But then it turned really serious. Paul Smith said of his opposite, he's dismissive of league staff, he's loose with protocols, and disrespectful to people around the league. Dory Kordahi, who we just saw a shot of, said that is bordering on defamation of character. And this morning, he told me that Sydney are jealous, they're insecure, and I'm going to stay classy. I'll let the pigs roll in the mud. He said he wanted to win this game more than any other he's been involved with in his time in the NBL, and he hoped his team started with the baseball bats.
It's got to rub off at some point on the players, doesn't it? Glover from outside. Brings it back to 1.
Well, this is where the players actually battle it out here on the hardwood. And Glover, he has come out firing in this opening quarter.
Second start for the Kings. Harvey from a long, long, long way out. Misses by a long, long way. The Hawks will get another look at it. Shot clock at 3. Cleveland puts the ball on the floor, gets inside. No good. Jarrell Martin. Back to the basket on Froling. It's 2 feet into the paint and puts the Kings up.
And that's just the skill of Jarrell Martin. As soon as he caught that ball, he started dribbling. Normally, you don't want the big men to do that, but he can put the ball on the floor. He can get to wherever he wants. He's got a great jump shot, step back, He's so tough to guard. Oh, as is that man. Do not breathe. Talk about two big fellas who can score in a variety of ways. And a little tidbit for everybody, they both LSU collegiate graduates, both more #1. So a little bit of, I guess, added rivalry to it. It's just talking about their college days.
Yeah, some nice symmetry there, but you can't give Duop Reed this kind of space. You're going to sit down and give him just a little bit of room to get that off. He's going to make you pay. You got to crawl in that one step closer, make him put it on the floor, go into dribble handoffs, because he can really stroke it.
Part of Australia's bronze medal winning team at this year's Olympics. Glover attracts the crowd, which meant that Vodanovic could roll to the basket.
A good passing so far for the Sydney Kings. The extra passing, getting everybody a good touch, coming off those ball screens, making plays. It's been better since that timeout from Chase Buford. Oh, boy.
Xavier Rattan-Mays picking up from where he left off last week. 15 points on 3 of 5 from outside.
And that's what he does. He is a tough shot maker. And so far, game 1 certainly, and early in this one, he's living up to that mantle.
Bales' first look from deep. It's good as well. Friends and family, there was 200+ tickets dedicated to Bawali Bales last week.
And he was exciting when he checked into the game. You know you're going to get that excitement factor from him. And he started this one. Well, he's going to get more of an opportunity with Adams and Hunter out. And so far, every time he steps on the floor, he's making things happen.
And Vodanovic's turn from deep.
Love the confidence there from Vodanovic. He knows that's what he's in there to provide. And no hesitation as he catches it as the trail big and knocks it down.
Sydney 4 of 7 from outside. Illawarra 4 of 6 to start this one. And the Kings have scored the last 6 points in the game. Bales under all sorts of pressure here from Cleveland. Jerome Martin, nice move. Gets himself to the free throw line.
And there's another one. We know Duop Reed's ability to step out, hit the 3. Jerome Martin can do it as well. Here you go. Ball movement from the Kings. Sean Bruce to Angus Glover. That's the one that started it. And then the second one, just all Jerome Martin on that play. The way he rolled made Tyler Harvey have to worry about where it was. And then Angus Glover got the 3 ball, and then you see Angus Glover saying, I've had a couple, let me give one up.
The ball's moving, Liam, isn't it, from a Sydney perspective? Pete said since the timeout, things are different. That's the biggest difference.
Yeah, it's been really good execution. And, you know, with those 2 key outs, especially Jalen Adams, he's their primary playmaker out of pick and roll. You're going to need to execute at a really high level if you're going to continue to tick the scoreboard over. And thus far, they've been getting that done.
That's Brian Goorjian, 25th season as a player or a coach in this league. He debuted with the Melbourne Tigers back in 1984, which incidentally was 4 months, in fact 8 months before Chase Buford was born. Well, the contrast of our 2 coaches this afternoon. Harvey for 3. No good. Strong rebound by Makur-Maker. Another one, part of the NBL22 Next Stars program. Glover's pass intercepted. Speaking of Next Stars, here's Jessup. Now Reith putting the ball on the floor. Thought he was fouled and has thrown it away.
Just lost his footing there a little bit, Reith, as he rode the contact. Get a look at Chase Buford. He's, as you say, just coming into his second NBL game up against a man down the other end, coaching in his 800th combined game. He's going to bring up his 800th game as a head coach later this season, Brian Goorjian. So a lot of experience down one end, and somebody just getting his feet in the NBL waters down the other.
And it shouldn't be lost during the week with all of the other stuff going on. Chase Buford said, I haven't been around for long, but I know about Brian Goorjian, and I'm full of respect for him. It'll be a Sydney ball.
Really good work on the offensive glass there from Makur-Maker. He was really impressive in his NBL debut last season. 9 points and 5 rebounds in 13 minutes on the floor. 3 of those rebounds at the offensive end. So his activity has been really good for the Kings in his limited run so far.
The cousin of Thon-Maker.
White, 6.
Foul on AJ Ogilvy. 2:43 to play in the opening quarter. The Kings enjoying a nice little wave of momentum. It was Illawarra who got things going with Justinian Jessup. The Kings have scored the last 8 points in the game, and they lead it by 5. Cook's trying to get busy on Conrad. Drew contact. Another, unfortunately for Illawarra fans, another born and bred Wollongong youngster. Grew up as a Hawks fan. His father has had a long time association with the region.
Yeah, he said he thought one day he probably would play for his hometown team, but the way things have worked out, he's in the big city, and they're going to need a huge game out of him today. No Adams, no Hunter. They need Cooks and Martin in particular. Really good start from Angus Glover, chiming in from long range, but they need Cooks and Martin to be huge. Big defensively, cleaning the defensive glass, making things tough for Duop Reed, but also giving them an offensive punch.
Well, Cooks did a bit of everything in that first game. 10 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and has the ability to really fill up the stat sheet. He's got the length, another one who can put the ball on the floor. Once he starts consistently knocking down an outside shot, he is going to become super hard to guard, as is that man.
Like that?
My goodness, he is just an exciting punch off the bench. Great signing, perfect fit for the Illawarra Hawks.
6 points on 2 of 3 to start his afternoon. Xavier Rattan-Mays. Pass from Bales, not a good one. Rattan-Mays left open up top. Not that time, though. Rebound dragged in by Jalen Galloway. And we didn't see in round 1. But with the outs, they'll all be needed this afternoon. Rattan-Mays looks into the corner. Jessup working hard off the ball. Couldn't get his shot to go. Cooks out for Vodanovic. His feet were set. Things have just dried up a little in the last 2 minutes. Harry Froling. First year as an Illawarra Hawk. That's a Conrad. This pass taken away by Bales.
Bales just staying home there, not trying to dunk down and get a hand in there, and ended up getting a pass that went straight to him. He was about to be off to the races. It was good one-on-one defense initially. That's what forced the kick out. And Bales not open. They're going to have a look at it because you talk about the clear path, and as we said, he would have taken off. And there you see, gets the steal. And
yeah, definitely not a clear path issue there, because Rattan-Mays is ahead of Bilali Bays in terms of his defensive transition, but they'll be having a look about play at the ball, because it's, you know, it's a play, it's a foul that does stop the offensive transition opportunity, but he did play at the ball, normal foul, he'll step to the line in the bonus.
The reason it gets looked at so carefully is because as soon as you have any sort of arm wrapped around trying to go for the ball, as soon as a referee sees anything looking like a hug or a grab, it's got to be looked at, because that's the telltale sign that perhaps there might be an upgrade. But right call there, and Bales goes to the line for the bonus.
You talked about Bales being impressive on debut. I thought the big tick for Bales in his first NBL game was that in that fourth quarter against Melbourne United, Chase Buford got to a point where he said, you know what, I need that kid back out there. You know, his energy was sense. He wasn't necessarily filling up the box score or lighting up the scoreboard, but his energy at both ends of the floor was creating havoc like he did right there to force the turnover.
19 years of age, Bilali Bales, a proud Indigenous athlete. As we mentioned before, a Sydney local, grew up in Redfern. Jessup short that time. The foul will be on Harry Froling, which will mean more free throws for the Kings.
Just a good effort. Xavier Cook's getting a body, and that's what you've got to do. You've got guys coming off the bench, elite rebounders, and the Kings, they're very athletic in their bigs. We talk about Martin, Cooks, their length. They're going to be disruptive on the rebounding all the time. You're coming up against the Hawks, who, to start with, have Reith and Sam Froling, who are going to go after every single rebound. You've got to hit a body. Harry Froling comes in to try and make something happen to cause an extra shot, and gets the over-the-back call.
just 26 years of age, Xavier Cooks. Still with so much good basketball ahead of him. Fingers crossed, injury-free. Certainly had his turn with injuries over the past 3 years, but he's fit and healthy, and he's out there at the start of an NBL season, which is good news for all basketball fans. Nick Kyrgios liked it so much last week at Kudos Bank Arena. He's back again.
Good to see him back. She was wearing Wally Bale's jersey. It was last week as the young man was making his debut and front and center enjoying the show. And this is going to be a seriously fun team to watch this season, the Kings.
Shot clock at single figures. Jessup has been busy in this first quarter. Buries another three. That's 3 of 4 to start the game.
He doesn't need much space, and Bale's just caught in a bit of no man's land. Tries to get a hand late, and once Jessup's hit a couple, doesn't need any space at all, knocks it down.
4-second differential between the game and shot clock here. Cook's nice soft touch too. Good possession from the Kings. Still time for Illawarra to manufacture something. Conrad is fouled in the action of shooting the three with 0.2 of a second remaining.
You don't want to be giving up that foul. Just contest. He's shooting it on the buzzer here. Here's the find and the strong closeout, and he just...
Oh, I'm not so sure.
Actually, maybe it's Conrad. He was coming to the side of Conrad. Conrad puts his hands out, creates the contact, and he threw the whistle.
That's the young fella, Galloway. You've got to have a bit of faith in yourself. I know that's going to be hard to get your coach to challenge that,
the little
but you've got to turn around and say, look, I jumped to the side. Tim Conrad put 2 hands on me. From that angle that the referee had, it looks like there's contact, but from what we got to see, he didn't do a whole lot wrong, but it's going to be hard to have the young fella turn around and say, use the challenge on me, coach.
3 shots.
It's an interesting one. Chatting to a few coaches around the league about their sort of strategy around the coach's challenge. A lot of them are talking about assessing it by a sort of a points per possession perspective. So a foul like that where you go, geez, if we win this, we can potentially prevent 3 points going on the scoreboard for our opponents, would be one that a lot of them are having a look at.
And the Sydney Kings will take a 1-point lead into quarter time. We didn't think a lot would separate these two teams early on, and they haven't disappointed so far in the Freeway Series. The second quarter from Kudos Bank Arena is coming up next in a Hungry Jacks NBL. us in the Hungry Jacks NBL. It's quarter time in the Freeway Series. Sydney lead at 25-24. Justinian Jessup, the next star this season, was the star in the opening quarter with 9 points from the Hawks. And here's a future star to keep your eyes out for. Samantha, great to have you involved. You can head to the NBL website to find out more about having the Game Time by Kmart experience at your school. Three-point shooting was a thing of beauty for both teams in the opening quarter. 4 of 10 Sydney, 6 of 11 Illawarra.
They're both generating pretty good looks. There was a combined 35 shots in that first quarter. 21 of them were threes, both shooting at a high percentage.
Kings in possession to start the second quarter. Cooks, strong rebound over the back. Gets himself on the free throw line.
That's something the Kings have done really well tonight, passing the ball, making the extra pass. The initial back cut, and then Jarrell Martin was fading to the corner. The corner-to-corner pass was beautiful, came up short on the three ball, but there's Xavier Cooks' length causing havoc. And we'll talk about the passing ability. They've got 6 assists on 8 made field goals. That'll make Chase Buford very happy.
Matty Russell's courtside, and you took a listen to Brian Goorjian at quarter time, Matty.
Indeed, he said we're taking too many bad shots, man. He wants more ball movement, more rotation of possession. He finished the timeout by saying, fellas, this is going to be a grind, and repeated it, we need to grind through all 4 quarters. Strangely, Wollongong, they've got a winning record here at Kudos Bank Arena, 7-6 Hawks over the Kings.
Brian Goorjian himself has a great record at this venue. 9 wins and 1 loss. Spent some time with the Kings, obviously. That loss was in 2005 to the West Sydney Razorbacks, and the Harlem Globetrotters, Liam, played as the curtain raiser.
Oh, yeah, enormous crowd in the building that night. I dare say Gorge has probably got a pretty good record in most arenas around the country.
Harvey faked everyone out. His shot didn't go scoreless so far. Martin running the floor. Look at that ball movement again from the Kings.
And look at their push in transition. That's what Brian Goorjian was talking about during the week when he said they're about as up-tempo a team as I've seen in a long time. As Cleveland scores in the lane, the ability to pull it off the glass, push in transition, the 4-man finds the 5-man, and they score at the rim.
So what do you do about that, Pete, if you're Illawarra?
Well, you've got to obviously try and match up, but you're not going to be matched up in defensive transition. So whoever's closest to the ball has to stop Xavier Cooks in that instance, but someone has to put a body in front of Jarrell Martin, because as Liam, there's an offensive foul on Sean Bruce, but as Liam said, not every team, very rarely you're going to see teams lead breaks with whoever's got the ball. That was their 4-man in Xavier Cooks and their 5-man in Jarrell Martin, who was pushing the floor ahead of him. They're so unique, but they're so fun to watch.
I thought that was an interesting point in Kane Pittman's article on ESPN.com.au about with Xavier Cooks that said Chase Buford said, we play basketball, we don't play positions, we play basketball. So what Reith rattles out, anyone can bring the ball up the floor.
Hey, go get it.
We want everyone to have fun, just like that. Cooks out for Martin. Rebound, Isaac White. DeWalt Reith, his 5 points so far in the game. Tough fall away. Cooks did enough defensively. Sydney drag it in.
Yeah, high-level post defense from Cooks, strong enough to maintain his position and then just walled up to contest the shot.
Nice pass, Xavier Cooks to Wani Swakala Bullock.
Well, that's what I love about the Kings early in the season, and we know that the way Chase Buford wants to play, we've seen them in this game take so many quick shots. The recognition to know if there's nothing there immediately to just get the ball to a Xavier Cooks or a playmaker and everyone make plays off him. Got lucky there, because that's one of the last men in the league you want to leave open in Tyler Harvey, but they're really good at making reads off the ball.
It's not happening for Tyler Harvey so far. 0 from 5 from the field. Cooks deep at the other end. Angus Glover pounces on the loose ball. Sydney lead it by 4. Martin rolling to the cup, lost possession. Kings wanted a foul. Officials didn't share that view. Harvey for Cleveland. Fires away.
It's not going to show up on a stat sheet, but Sean Bruce's recognition there to just take a little step further off Cleveland to worry about Tyler Harvey, knowing that if you have a contested hand to Antonius Cleveland's shooting, you live with that. If he knocks it down, he knocks down a couple, then you might adjust. But that's just Sean Bruce knowing the scout perfectly.
We were singing the praises of both of these teams with the way they shot the ball in the first quarter. I think we jinxed them to start the second. Isaac White, shot partially deflected by Bruce. But Cooks had his pass chopped off by Harvey. He pulls up in transition and goes bang.
Great awareness from Harvey. Timeout. Sydney had 6 steals in their opening game last week, Tyler Harvey, and he picks that one off in transition, pulls up, knocks down the 3-ball. Look at the awareness here. And then one-on-one, I'm going to take this from long range.
Not many in the league would have the courage to pull up like that. But when you can shoot the basketball like Tyler Harvey, you can do that. Let's get down to Matty Russell, who's got a very distinguished guest alongside him.
Jack, no surprises to see the New South Wales Premier enjoying the basketball. Dominic Perrottet, we've seen your love and more recently your ability at the hoops. Where does that come from?
Brad's a bit of a fluke, mate, but look, I played as a kid and a bit at college, but I love the game. My girls love the game, and it's great to see basketball really going off the charts here in around the country.
Now, the two club owners have been behaving like politicians this week, getting stuck into each other. Have you enjoyed the rivalry you've been watching?
Yeah, mate, it's great, and that's what it's all about. I think it really highlights sport, and you want rivalries. Rivalries, create atmosphere, and it's great to see so many people getting into it.
We're about to see some more restrictions eased on Wednesday in New South Wales. What do you say to people who are still nervous about coming out and enjoying an event like this?
Oh, look, I understand that, but as we get through this difficult time, we need to open up. The vaccination rate has been strong. That keeps people safe, and now we can go out and enjoy the best that our city and state has to offer.
You're about to be made the Sydney Kings #1 ticket holder. You got some kids going to be fighting you for that ticket, I understand.
Oh, they are, but they've got some special things for them as well. But look, that's a great honour and privilege to do that for the Kings. I've loved the Kings for my life, so real privilege.
A big week ahead for New South Wales. Enjoy the rest of the basketball.
Thanks, Brad. Cheers, mate.
Thank you, Matty. There's Paul Smith, the Sydney Kings owner. You can't miss him.
Just keeping it subtle, isn't he?
That's flying under the radar.
That's the shirt he whipped out in the playoffs a couple of seasons ago. Brings it out for the big occasions, Paul Smith. And how good is it to have the Premier on board with the Kings?
#1 ticket holder. That's going straight to the top.
I thought we were going to have a little John Howard sort of moment there. Great take from Cleveland in transition, putting heat on the rim and scoring through the contact.
Well, that's where he's tough, and we saw in his first game for the Hawks last weekend against the Adelaide 36ers. When he's in transition, if you don't put a body in front of him, he can finish through contact, but he is so athletic. So even once he's in the air, you've got to make sure that you're staying still, because you might get dunked on, but otherwise he can finish through that. He's well balanced as well.
We've spoken a lot about the pace of the Kings and the pace that they want to play at. The Hawks are not too different. With the athletes that they have on deck, Brian Goorjian wants this team to push the tempo, get out and run, and you saw it in action right there.
There's RJ Hunter, not playing today. Both imports, or 2 of their 3, I should say, sorry, not playing today for Sydney. Jalen Adams out with an ankle injury also. Glover fires away, he's short. Nice hustle from Swaka Lebulik. In fact, it's Maturmaker out on the floor. Glover head down to the basket, explosive, even after 3 knee reconstructions.
We know he's an athlete, Angus Glover, but credit Maker for keeping that ball alive. And those are the plays when you're missing key guys like Adams and Hunter on your offensive end. Get extra opportunities, crash the offensive glass. Everyone's coming in just to lift the intensity, lift their roles a little bit. That'll make Buford very happy.
No good for Cleveland. We mentioned those 3 knee reconstructions for Angus Glover. He's actually got a bit of his dad's hamstring that he's used this time around. He's used his own hamstrings already. Nice ball movement. Results in free throws for Tom Vodanovic. In fact, points will count. That's not something you hear every day. Hey, Dad, can I borrow some of your hamstring?
I know. Great story, isn't it? And it is just so good to see this young man out there healthy and playing at a really high level. I mean, he's a talent. Coming up through the ranks, and here you see him out on the break.
And look at the pace to get upstairs for the jam. Kings are having a good couple of minutes, and fans like it at Kudos Bank Arena. Brian Goorjian wants to have a chat about it. They're down 4:46 to play.
Angus Glover putting on a display here in the first half. He's the only player in double figures. His energy, his activity defensively, and then out in front of the pack, and his hops on display to get up and finish strong at the rim. Just so good to see him out there playing at a high level. First time playing against his hometown Hawks.
The Sydney Kings have started to get their game going in this second quarter. Angus Glover has been a massive part of that, as has Xavier Cooks, who's had a really good start to the season. Illawarra fans, look away, because this is Angus Glover and Xavier Cooks playing junior basketball together in the Gong, now playing for the Sydney Kings.
Yeah, it's tough for the Hawkheads to watch these guys out there against their own team and doing the damage, because they're just such talented players. Both, as you say, have had their injury problems over recent years, and Paul Smith and that group in the big city have been able to bring them into town, and both of them out there to start this season healthy and playing at a high level.
We mentioned Xavier Cooks. His dad, Eric, was involved at the club for a long time. Fairly certain his mum still works at Illawarra. Xavier was there recently, and they were about to start training the Hawks, and they said, off you go.
Just to add to a little bit of the rivalry that's already started to build up. And this rivalry is going to continue to grow, because we expect these two teams to make deep runs in the finals. And we know the Kings have had a big adjustment to their roster. They've brought in some new imports, new coach, new system, but both the New South Wales teams you'd expect to have a deep run come the business end. It's a great finish from Sam Froling. Finished through the contact. It looked like he wanted to go up and flush it, but Jarrell Martin came across to take the contact. Firstly, great pass from Justinian Jessup. Little pocket pass to finish like that through the contact. That's what makes Sam Froling an exciting prospect as well.
8 points, 4 rebounds in round one against Adelaide. Didn't really need to do a lot, did he?
Well, he would have been coming into this one looking to have a bit more of an impact. 1 of 8 from the field. Froling, he was solid, but he's looking to take another step up this year after winning the most improved player last season, and that was a big, strong finish at the rim.
It's Makur-Maker out there with Matur-Maker. The two of them on the floor together, which is fantastic for the family. Bogdanovic hard at Froling. Did well not to give away a foul. The Hawks spread the floor. Cleveland dumps it inside for Duop Reith. He finishes.
We can see Angus Glover closing out a bit short to Cleveland, letting him shoot that ball until he knocks one down. Didn't matter. Got into his spin move, and the patience not to rush up a quick shot when Angus Glover shuffled his feet. Credit Duop Reith for getting to the right spot just in front of the hoop in the charge circle to be the beneficiary of that one.
Hawks have scored the last 4 points since that Brian Goorjian timeout. Not that time for Cleveland. Bales has Bogdanovic spinning to the cup. He couldn't finish off.
That's 2 in a row for Bogdanovic. He's doing all the hard work, just got to reward himself. And
Good night, Antonius Cleveland.
We talk about good signings. Rattan Mays off the bench for the Hawks. Cleveland fits in perfectly for plays like this. You're worried about the shooters. You got to worry about this man in transition. He is athletic as they come.
This is what we're talking about the Hawks trying to get out, push the tempo. Outlet to Jessup, 1 dribble, and then straight up the sideline. And Cleveland's on the rim.
Here's Matty Russell, courtside.
I spoke to Tim Conrad pre-season. I said, give me one player who's really impressed you so far. And he went with that man, Cleveland. He said he is so athletic. He's taken us all by surprise. I expect him to dunk and embarrass many players around the league this season. His first basket in the league, that reverse behind the head jam, might continue for the rest of the campaign.
Most recently played in the G League with Oklahoma City Blue. It's a good signing for the Hawks. Here's Reith. A little bit of fortune. 8-0 run out of the timeout.
Yeah, big moment here for the Kings. Just things starting to unravel for them late in the half. The Hawks getting on top.
Swakala Bullock deep. Big rebound maker. Took the contact. Points count with 1 to come.
That's how you go about halting the momentum. Energy plays, activity. We spoke about his efforts on the offensive glass and continuing there. Just fighting for front position, putting in the effort to be first to the ball, and then strong finish through the contact.
The next star this NBL season had offers from UCLA, Kansas, Kentucky, just to name a few. Can't get that one to go, but he is loaded with talent. Sitting on the bench, Matur-Maker, his cousin, the brother of Thom. His first minutes in the NBL22 season. Nice wraparound pass, Tyler Harvey. Reith couldn't get it done, but long rebound falls back to him. How's that mobility to put the ball on the floor and pull up?
Well, not only that, little bit of a floater in there. Gets the offensive rebound off his own shot. Gets down in the touch from Duop Reith. And this is the big question mark for the Kings. They're young, they're athletic, but they've got to get back to at some points in the game, hitting bodies, all those little things on the defensive end when the shot goes up. You can't just trust your athleticism. Good knockdown by Bales. You can't just trust your athleticism every single time to try and get all the rebounds.
Hawks lead it by 2. The lead at quarter time was 1 to the Kings. Harvey played through Swakala Bullock, got past him, and then finishes from close range.
Does such a great job, Harvey, of keeping the defense on his back until he gets to his spot and knocks down the floater.
Down 4 at the moment, Sydney. But Pete, it doesn't feel like it's fluent in this second quarter.
No, it doesn't. And with Jalen Adams out, he's the one who's going to run the show the majority of the game. And when he's maybe going to the shooting guard spot or he's having a rest, it's going to be Sean Bruce. So you take one of them out. You've got Bales trying to set up the show. He's a lot quicker the way he's going to get into the offensive sets. Sean Bruce is real methodical, getting everybody in the right spot. That's a grown man move, except for the happy feet. Terrell Martin, he'd won that one back because he did all the right things, used his size. He's got a little happy feet in the end.
6 points on 2 of 8 shooting for the Louisiana native.
First half minutes here for the Hawks for AK Gak. Young, talented prospect, fully contracted this season. Had a DMP CD in their first game against Adelaide. He's out there here to close the first half.
Reith going to work on Martin.
Oh my.
How do you stop that?
Well, you can't. You've got a big fella like Duop Reith who moves that well, spinning, put the ball on the floor, can hit the 3 ball. He is just such a tough cover, and in that instance was defended pretty well. You just shake his hand and say, I've got to get better on the next one.
He's leading scorer in the game with 13 points. He's taking over in this second term. Swakala Bullock. Nice move to draw contact and get himself some free throws.
He's the stretch big that they didn't have last season, Duop Reith. And we talk about the ways in which they've put this team together over the offseason to take the next step. One win away from a grand final appearance. Gorge not at all happy with the call, but he's happy with his roster. He often says the winning is in the picking. And over the course of this offseason, they brought in the backup PG playmaker in Rattan Mays that they didn't have last season. They brought in a guy who can stretch it out on the wing in Antonius Cleveland in place of Justin Simon. But Duop Reith, the stretch big that they didn't have, gives them a totally different look offensively.
Swakala Bullock makes 1 of 2. If you have just joined us, RJ Hunter not playing today, one of Sydney's imports with soreness. Jalen Adams also out today with an ankle injury. Harvey off balance. No foul called. The Kings push the tempo. Bruce can see a path to the basket. Took it and is fouled.
Good take by Sean Bruce there. We know he's a facilitating guard looking to get everybody involved. He's telling Jarrell Martin there to get deep into the corner so he can find them on the pass. Didn't matter, went straight at the body of Gak. It's a veteran move there from Sean Bruce, who at 30 years old is the oldest player on this Sydney Kings roster. Talk about a team over the last few years, had Brad Newley, Daniel Kickett, and Sean Bruce as the veteran.
As he steps to the line here, makes the first. That makes him 31 of 33 from the free throw line all time at Kudos Bank Arena. 94%.
You couldn't wait till the second one, Jack?
No, just in case. Never in doubt.
Sponsored by Gamble Aware, Sean Bruce.
Final play of the opening half. Duop Reith has been such a big factor in this first half. Clock down to 3. Rattan Mays will fall away, get it away, and can't make it count. There's a bit happening on the way to half-time. Rattan Mays
I'll have a word.
not too happy with something that's been said. It's been spicy all week long, and at half-time, 3 points separate these two teams.
Well, it was an entertaining half. The Hawks, geez, they threatened to just move away in that second quarter. They kept Sydney to 18 points in that second term, but they weren't quite able to open up a huge lead. The Kings hanging tough.
Here's Matt Russell.
Angus Glover, 10.6 rebounds to halftime. What's it like dumping on your former team and old hometown?
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, just trying to do whatever I can to help the boys win.
You led at quarter time, you led well into the second quarter. What went wrong in the back end of that second period?
A bit of our trans D lapsed. I think just not getting back and not crashing the glass as well. So we just need to keep that up and we'll be all right.
No Adams, no Hunter. You happy with the fight in that first half?
Yeah, for sure. I think when we move the ball, we look really well. We said at the start of the game, it's going to take every single guy on the court to play a role tonight, and we're doing that so far. We've just got to keep it going.
Well done, Gus. Enjoy the second half. So Sydney's lead at quarter time becomes a 3-point deficit into the half. It is the Hawks 46, the Kings 43. We're back right after this.
Half-time in the Hungry Jacks NBL, the freeway series between the Illawarra Hawks and the Sydney Kings. And at the main break, it's the Hawks who lead it by 3, 46-43. Sydney's biggest lead in the game, Liam Santamaria, has been 5. Illawarra's has been 6. There's been not much between them.
Now, it was a war of words during the week in the lead-up, and today the players battling it out in style on the hardwood. And you're right, it's been closely contested. I thought the Kings were really solid in that first half in hanging tough. There were a couple of times the Hawks looked like they were going to extend a bit of a lead. They've had a bit of issues in defensive transition, the Kings, as Antonius Cleveland and others have made plays like that. But through a good half from Angus Glover, 10 points, he's the Kings' team leading scorer. They've been able to hang tough. Duop Reith, he's been big. 13 points for him in the opening half. And the Hawks, 7 3-pointers made at 44%. Good contribution as well from Vodanovic, coming off the bench with an aggressive mindset. And Justinian Jessup was really active early, 2 3 balls to open the game. So I think both coaches will be reasonably pleased with what they saw in that first half. And for Chase Buford and the Kings, you look at their shooting stats here, 4 of 16 from 3. Knocked a few down in that first quarter, but 0 of 6 from long range in that second quarter. And what's not on that graphic are the turnovers. Just 4 turnovers from the Hawks in that opening half. Protecting the ball just like they did in Game 1 against Adelaide, getting good looks most times down the floor.
Sydney without Jalen Adams and RJ Hunter today. The longer this game goes, is that going to be more evident perhaps for the Kings that they're both not there?
Yeah, it puts them behind the 8 ball, doesn't it? I mean, especially Adams. Hunter we know is a knockdown shooter, but Adams is their primary playmaker. Late in shot clock, give the ball to Adams, he'll get you a good look. So they have managed that in this first half, but that's the challenge, to continue to create good looks for the full 40 minutes.
Their other challenge is trying to find a way to stop Duop Reith. He's been simply superb in the opening half, a bronze medalist at this year's Olympics. He's dominant and he's doing it in all facets in the first half.
Well, he's just got such a versatile skill set. You see him here in the low block, going to work on Jarrell Martin, then Martin just gives him a tiny little bit of extra space, he makes him pay, and then pick and pop. Okay, you want to close me out, I'll put it on the deck, wheel and deal, hit the turnaround. And there you see pick and pop, falls short, but he has the versatility to get after the offensive board, and the touch on the floater was elite. So there you see the shot chart, a little bit from long range, a little bit from mid range, and then some buckets in the painted area as well. He is such a tough cover, and he looks the goods again this afternoon.
With thanks to SodaStream bringing us that shot chart from the opening half. From a Sydney point of view, Angus Glover is one of the feel-good stories of the NBL this season, returning from 3 knee reconstructions. We've seen so little of him in the last 3 years that we've forgotten, or we shouldn't forget, I should say, how athletic and how talented he is.
He is a talent. Has always been a talent. You know, up and coming through the ranks, he had NBA aspirations, and as you say, 3 knee reconstructions, but here he is out on the floor, accelerating off that first step, getting after it defensively, getting ahead of the pack in transition. Still has the hops, the ability to get it up and finish strong above the rim, and he is enjoying himself out there against his hometown team.
I'm not sure that Illawarra fans are enjoying seeing Angus Glover doing the stuff that he's doing at the moment. Just on the Hawks, Liam, before the break, we spoke about their performance first up and how good they looked. What are you seeing that you're liking in the first half?
Well, the defence is always solid. I think they've made a real focus of their defensive transition today. That against the Kings, you're going to need to do that, and they've done a pretty good job of that so far. And they're moving the ball. Everybody's getting involved offensively, and I think they would be pretty happy with that first half. They just need to keep their foot on the throat in this second half, and they should be able to close this out.
Well, we've told you that we're taking it to the next level in this Hungry Jacks NBL season. We've got a brand new set, which we love. We've got so many new facilities and so many new toys, including Pete Hooley at the Analysis Centre. Liam and Pete, well, they basically had a punch on before the game to see who could use this new toy first. Hools, what have you got from us from a Sydney point of view?
Well, I'm excited to be here. How good is this? But this is where the Sydney Kings offence got going. Now, Sean Bruce is different to Jalen Adams, the way he's going to get everybody involved. This was the first play where he really made it happen. We pause it here. Keep an eye on Tyler Harvey. Sean Bruce is watching exactly where Tyler Harvey's eyes are. And that gave just enough time for him to whip that ball to Angus Glover, knock down his first 3. Now, that got Angus Glover going. Sean Bruce has the recognition again in this play. He knows Angus Glover's already hit one, so he settles down. Watch Jarrell Martin. Jarrell Martin is right here. He is going to dive so hard that Tyler Harvey, who knows Angus Glover just hit one, Tyler Harvey has to watch where Jarrell Martin is. And this is why Sean Bruce has done his whole career. He's a great pass-first point guard. He recognises that. kicks the ball to Angus Glover, hits his second three, the offence opened up. Credit Sean Bruce, credit the passing of the Kings.
What time did you get here today to start rehearsing with this screen, Pete?
Mate, I actually got a bit of a hammy moving that quick. I haven't done it for a while, but it's good to be here. I'm enjoying that.
It's great that we've added this feature to our broadcast. You're going to see a lot more from the Analysis Centre on the other side of this. And you're going to see a lot more of the Hawks and the Kings on the other side of this. It's the Hawks who lead it by 3 at the main break.
We are at Kudos Bank Arena, and despite being down 2 imports, Sydney are within a shot at halftime. Illawarra 46, Kings 43. Coach, are you satisfied with that?
Yeah, no, I think we can be better. Defensively, we weren't at our best. I gave them some easy buckets in transition. We've got to take care of that.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Matt.
Chase Buford, the coach of the Sydney Kings, as we get set to start the second half. Still to come tonight, a little later on. Cairns are back at the Convention Centre to take on Tasmania, who are on the road for the very first time, and you can use the hashtag NBL22 to join us on social media.
Stay engaged here, Squawk, stay engaged.
DeWatt-Breath, we highlighted his work at half-time. 13 points on 6 of 10 shooting. Hands off to Harvey. He gets into the lane, and maybe that might get him going.
Great awareness from Harvey of the shot clock. Chase Buford was trying to give him the false count on the sidelines, get him to hoist it up early, but Harvey knew exactly how much time he had to play with.
7 points now. Tyler Harvey, All-NBL first team last season. Martin draws a foul on Justin Ian Jessup.
You see that bucket from Harvey down the other end. A real concerted effort of focus from the Hawks after that opening quarter. to get the ball in the painted area and score close to the rim. They had 0 points in the paint in the first quarter. 18 of their 22 in the second scored inside the lane.
They give it up that time, though. Jessup on the march at the other end. Beautiful give to Antonius Cleveland, who glides through the key.
We can see Justinian Jessup was trying to get downhill, be aggressive. Excellent awareness to slow up the play and then find Cleveland, who's following right behind. He is going to do that. We spoke about how deadly he is in transition. Good read from both players, good finish.
Cooks looks into the corner. Feet set, looks good. Wani Swakala-Bullock.
Most of the extra passes that we highlighted at halftime, that's going to be a three-point play. And this is why he's such a great signing for the Hawks, because normally when you scout the Hawks, we talk about last year, in transition defense, you want to stay a bit wider to make sure you get to the shooters. Jessup, Harvey, they'll launch you from anywhere in transition. Now you can't do it because of Cleveland.
Now here's what Hulse was highlighting during halftime. Look at Tyler Harvey helping on the roll man, but he's come off the shooter in the corner. He drew an offensive foul in the first half doing that, but there he leaves Wani Swakala-Bullock open. 3-ball corner pocket.
Antonius Cleveland having a good afternoon. That's now 12 points to go with 5 rebounds. He was a little quiet in his first game, but having a major influence in this one. Cooks had the seal on Harvey. Nice find from Glover. Fouls on the floor.
Good recognition from the Kings. We so often see teams when there's a mismatch just really telegraph where the ball's going. But if it's there, if he's got that position to lob it over, just throw it to him. Don't give the defense time to recognize, oh, there's a mismatch, I've got to help. What a spin from Xavier Cooks. And in the end, good help defense from Justinian Jessup.
Cleveland spinning. Bruce fell over. Might be a flop warning coming his way. Harvey couldn't make it count from outside. Loose ball goes Sydney's way.
There's the flop warning on Sean Bruce. That was called straight away. Now officially in the books. You see what happens. Sean Bruce went down and somebody else had to help him. Here was the play. Cleveland putting his head down, and that's the right call. That's why we have the flop warning in play. By Sean Bruce going down, somebody else had to come across to pull up Cleveland, or else he has a dunk. You leave Tyler Harvey and Jessup open. One of them was going to be open for the 3. Kings got away with one there.
Officials, Chris Reed, Daniel Batty, Nico Fernandez. That might be what gets Sydney going to start this third quarter. Sean Bruce with his first treble of the afternoon. Jessup at the other end. Cooks might have got a piece of that on the way up. Glover for 3. Rebound Cleveland. Jessup guarded by Cooks, who did well to stay in front. To what Reith there to tip it back in.
That's a big battle underneath there. Reith and Jarrell Martin. Martin cannot allow Reith to get that front position for offensive boards. Easy tip in.
15 points on 7 of 11. 5 rebounds as well for Reith. Harvey deep on the 3-ball.
He's 1 of 7 now, Tyler Harvey, and doesn't matter. He could be 0 of 10. You still got to respect good defense from Cleveland. You've got to respect Harvey's shot, as I was saying. Angus Glover thought he might have had a step on Antonius Cleveland, but he is extremely athletic. Again, we're going to harp on about the perfect fit that he is. Justin Simon last year spearheading the defense. Cleveland will do that, but also add a bit more on the offensive end that we didn't see consistently from Justin Simon.
Get back to Tyler Harvey in a moment, Liam. Sydney look to make this possession count. They swing Glover to the top of the key. Swakala-Bullock knocks down another one from deep.
Good hit. Swakala-Bullock. They need other guys to step up and score this afternoon, and he has done that. He's up into double figures now. Swakala-Bullock, a really good contribution from him, having got the start.
Only averaged 4.5 minutes a game last season in Perth. That is going to make Chase Buford very, very annoyed. Another easy tip in for the Hawks. Froling with rebound number 6. Ferdanovic fires away. Make that number 7 for Froling.
That's going to kind of be Sam Froling's role this year. We know he's an elite rebounder as Angus Glover goes down and Jessup. And there's Sam Froling again.
That's 8. He wants to go to work on Jarrell Martin. Got to his left hand. Forced into a tough look. Glover runs the floor. Was fouled over the back. And a hard landing too. He's okay. You can't help but have your heart in your mouth every time Angus Glover has a hard landing, only because of his history.
It was a great sprint from Glover on that left wing. Bruce found him. I'm not sure they called a foul on that. No, out of bounds, clean contest. And the ball will go back to the Kings.
That's Cleveland's second block. He'll sit down, but really good timing. And back to Sam Froling. We know his ability on the offensive end to put the ball on the floor, face up. He's going to have that in mismatch opportunities throughout the season, certain teams. We know they're loaded offensive power. Good pass there, good out-of-bounds set for the Kings. But everything else, he's just going to get his own from offensive rebounds and extra efforts. Ryan Gorge not happy with that breakdown whatsoever.
For a team that prides itself defensively, Liam, that's not something you see a lot of from Illawarra.
No, and Gorge not going to let that slip.
Froling short. That's Harry Froling. Family affair for both teams this afternoon. Harry and Sam out there for Illawarra. The Maker cousins for Sydney. Xavier Rattan-Mace back into the game. It's a real spark for Illawarra in the first half. 6 points on 2 of 5. Now he pulls up for 3. That's long. Sparkle Bullock having a good third quarter. Wants to make it an even better one. His left-handed layup jumps out.
There's Sam Froling on the glass and 9 rebounds. He's got the 5 points. As we said, they're not going to run a whole lot through him. Not in a game where you've got Xavier Cooks and Jarrell Martin as the other 2 bigs. Anyway, with this, just a bit of miscommunication on the offensive end, and Sean Bruce is, I'll give him a ball tap.
We're back to a 1-point ball game.
Straight away, Brian Gorgin's got a couple of subs coming in. He's not happy with this unit.
Froling left alone up top. Sydney with a chance to take the lead on this possession. They scored off their last 2 trips down the floor. Martin hard at the basket. Kings in front at Kudos Bank Arena.
Strong finish from Martin right in the contact, and Gorgin just letting this ride. He wants to get those guys in who are sitting at the scorer's table, but just holstering the timeout for now as the Kings ride a wave of momentum.
Xavier Cook's about to check back in for Sydney. Jessup off target. He's gone a little cold in this third quarter. Bruce trying to create.
Go, go, go!
Here's 7 points into the starting lineup today. Sean Bruce in the absence of Jalen Adams. Harvey got away from Sparkle Bullock and knocks it down.
So we spoke about Tyler Harvey. He's 1 of 7 going into that one. Good screen from Harry Froling. Might have been a little extra in it, but wasn't called. Tyler Harvey does not matter how many he's missed. The next one, he knows he's going to go in. That's the way he plays.
That's what you're looking for as a coach, isn't it? When you're trying to hold some momentum. They'd had some good looks, the Hawks. Harry Froling wide open on the 3-point arc. He needs to knock that down. And Gorge eventually got Harvey catch and shoot.
When I call for stack, all right, we got this action. It doesn't matter who we go to, right? We want to go opposite JJ, all right? And we go the handoff here. That'll be you, all right? We bring it up, and we cut across here, and we come in here and run middle pick and roll, all right? That's stack. So you're dribbling opposite JJ, handing it off to Frawley. You two are in the handoff. Back to you for middle pick and roll. All right. Now, hey, on the push-up, multiple ball carriers, find reverse, back cut, pin down, stay, hey, keep shooting the ball. You're open, shoot it. Here we go.
It's been a long time association with the NBL for Brian Goorjian. 25th season. He started as a player in 1984 with the Melbourne Tigers, and then his first year of coaching, you can hear that there's not a lot of difference.
Down there. Don't go on the first pass. 5, use it, make them defend us, and they don't break on us. You got me? You got me. Hands in.
Well,
we got you.
A lot of the voice sounded the same, but something else just stood out. There's a bit of a difference there in that picture of Brian Goorjian. He's had a beautiful locks back then, didn't he?
The perm was beautiful, wasn't it?
Still looks fit though now. You can see him in the weight room quite often at Illawarra's facility. Maker under the basket. It's forced even further underneath by Harry Froling. Reith got Maker up in the air, put the ball on the floor and lays it up.
That's so tough to guard because you have to respect that 3 ball. Might have got away with a little shuffle of the feet, but didn't matter. And that's such a tough finish for anyone, let alone your big centre, Xavier Cooks. So that's what he can do. He'll put the ball on the floor. He's extremely wiry the way he gets through the defence. Good finish from Xavier Cooks. Good answer.
Let's get courtside to Matty Russell.
I reckon physicality got a fair workout at half-time from Chase Buford. In that last time out, he said, I loved your physicality. Keep fighting for those rebounds. Keep fighting through those screens and keep banging bodies as you're running the lanes. He likes the way his team has returned from half-time.
And they trail by 2. Thank you, Matt. That's a turnover, though, that's going to hurt. And that will be an unsportsmanlike foul. That's a pretty straightforward call for Chris Reid.
It's not what they needed, the Kings. After a couple of good plays at either end of the floor and then the turnover, Kyrgios just asking about the unsportsmanlike rule, trying to get a read on.
What do you think about that one?
About that whistle? But yes, Maker reaches out, halts the offensive transition, no play on the ball, and the Kings get a chance to add to their lead and maintain possession. The Hawks, sorry.
Well, those are the easy ones, aren't they, for the rest? When you see that happen, they'd probably even give a little sigh of relief, thinking, oh, no one's going to be upset about that, because that's in the textbook of how it is.
They're so meticulous, and we spoke about Brian Goorjian and his attention to detail. That's really flowed into Illawarra. They led the competition after week 1 for turnovers. They were so clean with the ball. Today, much the same. Even though things are going right, Xavier Rattan-Mays has been kind enough to donate some burgers to New South Wales basketball fans. Covert is fast.
That's what you want. Bit of a rivalry game. You're getting some high-energy basketball. Someone's going to come away with the bragging rights, but it doesn't matter because everyone can come away with some burgers thanks to Hungry Jacks.
This pass behind the back for Reith, who responds in kind. 20 points on 9 of 13 shooting.
Oh, nice pass from Rattan-Mays, and Reith just ready to catch and fire at any moment.
Another steal from Cleveland. He's got options ahead. He wants to take it himself and does.
Well, he wanted to make the pass. You could see Cleveland wasn't going full pelt down the floor, and in the end had to make something out of nothing, and he's good enough to do that with his athleticism. Hawks on a little run here.
This has been a game of runs, and Illawarra are making a decisive one right now. That 3 won't count from Harry Froling. There's Angus Glover. Good to see that he's up and going. The Kings toss it away. Turnover. Number 11.
It's a good idea from Bawali Bales. He was probing in transition, got into the lane, and had his angles cut off, but he did have Maker for that lob play, but the execution wasn't quite there.
Rattan-Mays wanting to get in deep and dumps it out. Good look for Cleveland. Long rebound. Vodanovic has Bales, who's not really aware of the time. He thought that he had longer than what was available. Bizarre ending to the third quarter. It's been a bizarre week, and That was bizarre. What's not bizarre is Illawarra. They lead by 7, 67-60, three-quarter time at Kudos Bank Arena in the Hungry Jacks NBL. You're watching the Hungry Jacks NBL. 2 quarters in a row now that Illawarra have outscored the Sydney Kings, and that gives them a lead of 7 going into the final term. Antonius Cleveland has been big for the Hawks with 16 points, but that man, Duop Reith, has been the biggest of the lot, 20 points. He leads all scorers in the game, and the winner of our Fam Cam for this afternoon is Matt Cook. This picture was taken at Muscle Beach in LA, where Pete Hawley spends a lot of time. We were captivated by the unbelievable basketball. No clear winners, but street ball brings the best out in everyone. How was your time at Muscle Beach?
Been there a couple of times and haven't stepped foot on the court though. Maybe I need to.
With those arms, absolutely. Final quarter underway. Angus Glover back on the floor. As you can see, opening the scoring to start the last.
Right back on the attack. Glover took that hard fall in that third quarter. Went out, got himself right. Right back on the attack.
That will be an offensive foul. Glover having a say at both ends. Let's get to Matt Russell.
Yeah, at three-quarter time, I listened to Chase Buford, and he said to his team, boys, we're only a few stops from getting right back into this game. He just felt their offense got a little stagnant towards the back end of that third quarter, and looked at them here to change that and try and close this 5-point gap.
I think that offensive foul, that's been in the ref's mind since a couple of plays in the third quarter. Tom Mays really tries to, it's not so much a hook, more of a slap of the arms down to try and get that advantage over the defense. But credit Angus Glover for getting up and in and making him have to do that to try and get free.
Harvey stepping back on Bruce.
It doesn't take long for Tyler Harvey. Started 1 of 7, got a little bit more open than Chase Buford would have liked on the first one he knocked down, and then doesn't need any time or space. Once he's feeling good, he'll go up quick, and the Kings respond.
They go down to Xavier Cooks. Extra free throw coming up.
That's what they need, the Kings. They need Xavier Cooks to be a real factor offensively. Jarrell Martin as well when he gets back out there. And you see the short closeout from Froling. They want to give Cooks the three-point look, but he doesn't want to take it. Puts it on the deck, gets into the lane, finishes, and one. And here comes Martin back out on the floor. 8 points for Martin, 3 of 9 from the field. You're going to need to put some points on the board in this fourth quarter. Cooks and Martin need to be aggressive.
Offensive rebound. Now they can reset. Shot clock at 4 for Glover.
And this can be kind of the issue. We talk about the Kings, the way that their style of play is. They're trying to play fast, get a lot of shots up within the game. Good drop-off pass there. Froling can't finish. You don't often run sets for your guys who you need the ball in their hands. We talk about Jarrell Martin, and a lot of that will come from when Jalen Adams, RJ Hunter step back in. Those things will open up for him. But right now, you've got other guys coming in. Everyone's got a green light.
Martin takes on the Hawks and wins.
I take back everything I said.
That's got to be a focus, though, as a group, but also from Jarrell Martin's perspective. He's got to get on the front foot and be aggressive, put points on the board like he did right there.
He's into double figures now. 10 points to go with 6 rebounds. Tom Mays. Guarded by Bruce. Steps back on him. Rebound falls to Swakala Bullock. It's his first game in double figures in the NBL. Wani Swakala Bullock in 52 games. Jarrell Martin lights it up. He's got 13.
Oh, we called for it, and he made hard work of the first one himself, the play before. Stepped into that one with confidence, and that's what the Kings need. You said, Liam, only had the 8 points, up to 13 now, scored the last 5. Plenty of time left in this game to have an impact.
Now the Hawks find themselves needing a bucket, and they get the answer through Cleveland.
Well, he's had all the answers all night long. Antonius Cleveland just filling the box score. 17 points, 7 boards, 2 steals and 2 blocks.
Glover stripped of it. As Cleveland looks ahead.
Oh, wow.
Says good night to Sean Bruce. How about that from the bag of tricks?
Well, just selling some candy if you don't mind. Antonius Cleveland. Had everybody fooled.
He's up to 19. Illawarra now have scored off the last 2 possessions. Xavier Cooks proving a handful.
That's good, strong take. Sorry, Jack. Good, strong take from Xavier Cooks. Again, here's Cleveland. Oh, my goodness. Just full Sean Bruce out of his shoes. Right there, classy finish. And then he says, hey, coach, I need a little breather. AK Gak enjoyed it. And then down the other end, Cooks and Martin starting to tick things over.
What I love about the last 2 plays from Antonius Cleveland, he started in that corner. He spent a lot of his time in the offense in that corner. And one time had a handoff about 3 possessions ago. And Chase Buford was yelling at Angus Glover to go under the handoff until he knocks a 3-ball down. The very next play, he had his feet set knowing that as soon as he caught it, they weren't going to respect his 3. Stepped into it, knocked it down. That's the perfect way to respond.
Freeway series has been red hot all week. Now the players are doing the talking on the floor. 4 points the difference. Return Mays, no foul call. Cooks from one end to the other. Couldn't get it to go. Now Illawarra have got a player ahead, and Return Mays lays it up. Puts it back to a 6-point deficit for Sydney. Bruce relocates to the corner. Got it!
Big hit from Bruce. They needed that. The Kings, things going Illawarra's way. Chase Buford all over the officials on the sidelines, and then Cooks, penetration, pitch to the corner. Bruce ready for his moment, and he knocks it down.
Sean Bruce is the one with the time Mays on the halftime buzzer. Had a few words to say, and Sean Bruce knocking that one down right in front of the Hawks bench. And that's all we want to see from the rivalry series.
Another into double figures now. Reith tips it in. No one had a body on him.
Again, Jarrell Martin, he's got to find Duop Reith on those blockouts. It's fundamental basketball. Don't put a body on the big man, and he's happy to move his feet, get to the position. He tips it in.
Cooks showing his skills. Spins away on Froling. 12 and 7 for the afternoon. Return Mays takes it to the other end. There's Froling once again. An Illawarra big man left unattended under the cup.
Chase Buford working over the referees right now, saying they haven't had anything go their way in terms of the whistle, but those plays right there, just got a box out.
It's 81-76, 5:07 to play at Kudos Bank Arena.
Our guys are driving, they're getting tackled every time. Our guys are getting driving. We end up on the floor every time. We end up on the floor every time.
Chase Buford not happy.
We might have a case. There's been a lot of contact down the end there. And he'd be telling his guys right now just to try and play through it. He's doing his job as the head coach, just working over the referees, making them be a bit more aware of what's going on. But the play before was someone's just got to get a body on first Duop Reith and Sam Froling. And that's the thing we highlight, I think, in the second quarter. Martin, Cooks, these guys make it, they're athletes. So you have to trust, you obviously trust your athleticism, but you've got to get back to the basics as well. Hit a body, get Duop Reith out of there, but get Sam Froling out of there. He's got 11 rebounds. Can't let him hang around and have that impact.
There's a lot of sharpshooters on the floor this afternoon for both teams. I wonder whether they think that they might be able to step up when it matters most. 5:07 to play at Kudos Bank Arena. It's the Hawks who lead it by 5. If you think that you can shoot a full court shot at an NBL game, then you can head to the NBL website win page to enter for your chance to shoot for $100,000 in the Latrobe Financial Sharp Shot. Don't worry, there's just a lazy 50K up for grabs, Liam. If you don't make the first shot, you can go to the halfway line like you used to do back in the day for the Titans and knock it down for 50 grand.
Well, I don't know about the T's and C's. I might have to read the fine print, but I'm not getting that robot. That fever robot from Japan to shoot it for me.
I'd say that that's somewhere in the terms and conditions, isn't it? You can't nominate a robot to shoot it for you. There's a turnover out of the timeout for Sydney, Pete.
Well, it wasn't there. Angus Glover might have had his vision impaired because it was just not there. Sam Froling, that's a really nice play. And there he is again. Duop Reith just hanging around. And that's the issue, you know. Sam Froling has then got a free layup, and you try and come across the block, you probably weren't going to get there because of the play itself. And here it was. He got Jarrell Martin in the air. That play's there. Someone's got to go even stronger on Duop Reith. He just threw Swakala Bullock out. He said, let me get another 2 to add to my tally. He is having himself a night.
We're blessed with some fantastic big men in this competition, but the addition of Duop Reith this season, Liam, he may end up being the best of the lot.
No, he may. Yeah, massive for the league, certainly massive for the Hawks. You get a guy straight out of the Boomers program, straight out of the Euro League, and he's been really impressive in his first 2 outings.
Xavier Cooks is taking the responsibility on himself to keep Sydney in this game.
Yeah, both he and Martin, they sensed it a few minutes ago that they needed to be really aggressive offensively. Those key guys not in the lineup, and they've had some good contributions across the board throughout the afternoon. Bruce, Swakala Bullock, Glover all in double figures, but the 2 bigs, Cooks and Glover, need to be their primary offensive producers, especially down the stretch. And Cooks in particular, really aggressive. Putting it on the deck, spinning, getting offensive rebounds, getting himself to the free throw line.
Well, that was just a really smart play. That's a man who's been battling with Sam Froling all night. He knows that Sam Froling is not going to take a charge. He just used his strength, pushed him off. Sam Froling was trying to shuffle his feet, but he didn't go down. In the end, came up short, but got his own rebound and got to the free throw line, and we have a 5-point game.
Very little between these 2 teams. Every chance that we see this matchup at some point during the playoff series. 2 of the very best in the NBL. Justinian Jessup has been a little quiet since the first quarter.
That was nice from Jessup. Run off the 3-point line, but able to put it on the deck and the touch on the floater.
Hawks have done a good job in this last. Sean Bruce adds in 2 more. Just being able to keep enough space on the scoreboard between them and the Kings.
It was well defended initially by the Kings as a whole. That's all we spoke about Sean Bruce wanting to pass. He gets into the heart of the defense, and Tyler Harvey, oh my goodness, the amount of real estate he can create on that step back.
Cairns and Tasmania still to come later tonight. Taipan's back at the Cairns Convention Centre. In between that, as soon as we finish up, the crossover. It's coming your way. Drew Jones, Kane Pittman, Damon Lowry will break all of this down and look ahead to what's coming up. caution, screaming for his men to get back. Cooks pushes the issue. Swakala Bullock can't knock down the three.
Oh, they've had a couple of good looks. The Kings, Sean Bruce with the mid-range pull-up was open. Swakala Bullock open right there. Big shots in big moments.
Latama's lost the ball. Here go the Kings in full flight, and Glover goes barreling through.
Leave it. Hey, leave it.
Duop Reith not happy with it. Let's take a look at the foul firstly. Watch Angus Glover on the way through there.
Well, there's the foul, and May's not in position, and Angus Glover just getting close enough and just saying, puts the ball under his arm and says, mate, I'm nearly scoring a touchdown. Just get out of my way, big fella. Duop Reith having none of that.
We have a fast break. Contact is from behind. I want to see if we have a 3-3 compare. Yeah, the contact is here.
So you want to
fast
breakaway? Replay centre, can we please review the foul for a possible upgrade for a breakaway, C4?
So you can hear the explanation from the officials. That last voice was senior referee Chris Reed.
No, we're looking for a breakaway foul. Yeah, you've got Duop in front there.
Pardon?
Duop in front.
What do we think?
Well, it's clearly not a clear path situation because you've got defenders ahead of the action there. You see, the initial contact happened with the feet, the clip of the ankles that was inadvertent, and then Rotan Mays whacking from behind there. But they'll be looking at a play on the ball. He's certainly not in defensive position in front of the ball.
Foul was on.
And that's what ultimately they have to look at, as you said, Liam. There's both Duop Reith and Tyler Harvey in front of the ball, so there is no clear path.
Upgrade foul. White 8.
But when they look at it, as you said, not in position. You come from behind and you're just having a whack across the body, and it's tough because there's really just no need to do it, is there? You've got Duop Reith, you've got the big fella down low, you've got Tyler Harvey back there as well.
And what you were seeing at home just then, the different angles and the different replays, is exactly what our replay centre we're looking at. So we take you inside the decision there.
And over and above the call, I like the adjustment over the off-season coming into this year where the crew on the floor aren't going to the monitor.
Yep.
They're just, the review in the replay centre is done. The officials stay there on the floor, speeds things up, we get on with it. And big moment here for Glover. Misses the first. Cuts it to 4.
Well, we've seen a couple of these been given early in the season. The difference you have to understand on that one is the clear path. They're not looking at a clear path. It's where is the defender position when he's making the contact, and it is a legitimate attempt. When you're from behind, out of position, and kind of just swinging across his body, you're putting yourself at risk to get that upgraded, and all those kind of things are looked at in the replay centre.
Glover, feet set, knocks it down. 1 point game.
How's the confidence from the young man? Sat out almost all of last season. Spent years and years on the sidelines with injury. Coming up trumps in crunch time.
16 points, 7 rebounds. He has been superb. Harvey got inside the paint. That floater off target. Less than 2 minutes to play. Kings in possession. Playing for the lead. Glover again. Not that time. O-board Xavier Cooks. He gives it up. Now Illawarra can settle into something meaningful. Duop Reith at the top of the key. What an afternoon he's having.
Oh my goodness, Duop Reith, have yourself a game, big fella. 27 points, 3 of 4 from outside, and just steps into it like he's never missed one.
It takes the air out of Kudos Bank Arena. Still plenty of time though for the Kings. Shot clock at 7. Turnover starting to become a factor. They'll get it back. Shot clock at 1. Glover off balance. Doesn't draw iron. Hawks get the ball back. Matt Russell courtside.
Yeah, Chase Buford really clear, saying we win this game through stops and rebounds. Sydney doing well on the boards, leading the Hawks 51-39. A crowd of 7,000 sensing a comeback there, willing the Kings home.
They've got some work to do now. That possession hurts them, Liam.
Well, they've lifted their energy on the glass. They were getting whacked on the offensive boards with Froling and Duop-Reath causing havoc, but they've put a stop to that in the last few minutes, the Kings.
Hawks can use their full 24. Froling takes it out, cooks and scores.
That is such a tough move from Sam Froling. Didn't mind the little flex himself, but to go up, take the contact and finish with your left hand in that position off glass, that's a tough move. For the Kings, this run, they just hurt themselves with a couple of bad possessions, a turnover. Have a look at this from Sam Froling. That player gets blown up, takes the contact, hangs in the air with the left. Great little touch and waits for the whistle and then gives a little flex there to the bench as he runs off.
We spoke about the influence of Duop-Reath. 27 points, 7 rebounds.
What an outstanding game he's had. He's second in the NBL, 18-9 in his first game for the Hawks last week, and then he comes out here stroking it. Give him a little space, he's going to knock it down. Here he's putting it on the deck because Martin ran him off the arc. And the awareness, falling short, follow my own shot. No one blocks out the shooter, and the touch on the floater is nice. And he's been giving it to him all afternoon. This is all first half highlights, and here in the second half, ready to toe the line, knock it down, and also active on the offensive glass. And his last shot, the third of those 3 dots outside the arc, a little scout breakdown from Xavier Cooks. He's 2 of 3 from long range. Duop-Reath, you know he can stroke it. Cooks with the short closeout, gives him space to let it go. And Reath with the crunch time 3.
This is NBA level stuff from Duop-Reath. That's what they want to see from the big fella, to stretch the floor as well as he does. Can he shoot the ball from outside? Absolutely. But can he put the ball on the floor from there and make plays as well? We're seeing that right now. So for all the Australian basketball fans, especially the Hawks fans, enjoy Duop-Reath while we have him, because this is exactly what NBA teams want to see. And another turnover from the Kings.
In the final quarter, Pete. 16 for the game, 4 of them in this last term. Now they have to start fouling.
It all started with Xavier Cooks. He missed that easy one down low, but got his offensive rebound and threw it straight to the Illawarra Hawks, who went down and scored. Then the next possession was a bit disjointed. They throw up a heave on the shot clock, another turnover from there, and then just another one. They've played really well to stop the runs from the Hawks, but just missing that little bit of being able to be locked in this last couple minutes.
On the other hand, Illawarra have only given the ball back 7 times for the game. Jessup has to fire late, and now that's going to make it really hard for the Kings.
Oh, that's the dagger right there.
Glover has to get from one end to the other. Froling says good night, and Angus Glover has been agitating the Hawks all afternoon. It's boiling over late at Kudos Bank Arena.
Angus Glover, he's not happy. You're going to have a look at this. Angus Glover might be having a 24-second early shower.
Big block from Froling, sending that into the stands. And then Glover with the step over. Froling, Jessup, none of the Hawks appreciating it. And the scuffle ensues. Look at Nico Fernandez on the opposite side, pulled Glover away.
Well, he's a strong fella, Angus Glover, and you're right. And I think Sam Froling, once he went down, he obviously had some words to say about the block, but it might have just been a little tug on the shorts. Angus Glover didn't like it. The step over, they're going to have a good look at this, and the Rivalry series has delivered what we expected, and a little bit more.
The build-up started on Monday. We highlighted all of that pre-game. All of that was like a game of tennis going back and forth during the week. But one thing we knew for certain, boys, is when these two got on the court and got together, everything that can be said during the week was one thing, but the players themselves, this rivalry's intense, and they have showed that all day.
Oh, there's no doubt. It's been that way for a little over 3 decades now, since the Kings came into existence in 1988. As these two clubs battle it out for supremacy in New South Wales.
Replay Centre's having a good look at it here. There might be a couple guys hitting the showers before the final buzzer. Talk about guys coming in. The third party was Sam Froling and Angus Glover. So we have a look here.
Foul is on Glover for the knee, top of the knee.
So they're saying
disqualifying foul
right
is for
there.
White 10 coming in with a blatant hard push to number 5, Purple.
having a look at this, the knee, as you say, Pete, from Glover. Over Froling.
I'm going to need you guys to be real clear.
And Jessup coming in strong to push Glover over. Interesting to see if they have a look at Xavier Cooks for his response to Justinian Jessup and whether Nico Fernandez gets spoken to. He came in strong, just trying to cool everyone's jets by getting Glover, who was right in amongst everything, out of the fray.
Well, that one right there from Jessup, that's probably what's going to see him be disqualified from the game. Glover with that little knee. You can see Sam Froling a little bit of the shorts as well. It didn't matter because Glover dropping that knee. Jessup
that's going to be a disqualifying foul on Jessup.
As next man in, Peter?
Well, I think that's what I'm trying to listen to what the referees are discussing with the replay centre. We'll get it coming to you soon, but that's what the kind of glimpse that I could hear from what they were discussing is that's what it is. It's Angus Glover, it's Sam Froling. We know those two have started all this. Jessup came in, and that's what you got to have your teammates back, but throwing Angus Glover on the ground as that third man in.
Because he runs in from out of the play and gives Glover a hard push into the stands.
And here they're just there because he's not in the play, he just comes in, Jessup, to have Sam Froling's back and throw Glover out of the way. A bit to work on here.
So these angles, the angles that are being seen inside the replay centre.
There we go with the out of bounds.
You can see we've got every angle covered. And we're about to come to a decision.
Qualifying foul on purple 5 and an unsportsmanlike foul on white 10. Okay? But they cancel them out and it'll be an end-line ball.
Here's senior official Chris Reid.
Disqualifying foul, purple 5. Unsportsmanlike foul, white 10. They cancel each other out. We have the end line from the block shot. Angus, you're out. Is it going?
Angus Glover's afternoon is over.
Well, we expected that. That was the one we were pretty certain of. Angus Glover just lost his cool there. The drop the knee was what they were discussing into Sam Froling. Kings fans are getting around their boy, and then obviously managed to find enough from talking Jessup down for a disqualifying foul just to an unsportsmanlike for his role of coming in.
Be smarter than that next time, okay? No need for you to come in.
Here's Matt Russell.
Spoken to Angus Glover about his temper, and he blames his red hair. But I tell you what, the second flare-up in this game today, doesn't it whet the appetite for their next meeting, which isn't too far away? New Year's Eve in the Gong, Illawarra v Sydney. Won't that be one to look forward to after this today?
Oh, there won't be a spare seat in the house at the Gong. What a game that's going to be, New Year's Eve. The Kings will inbound. They're going to need quick buckets. They've been their own worst enemy at the back end of this game. And that's going to take care of things now. 80 kilometres down the road, Illawarra will head, and they'll take bragging rights with them. First match of the Freeway Series in NBL22 goes the way of the Hawks, 92-84. And it sets things up for a battle on New Year's Eve.
Big win for the Hawks. 2-0 start for them. Both of their wins in their opponents' venues. And Sydney on top after the opening quarter, but Illawarra grabbed control, held the lead pretty much from there on out. And class from Chase Buford at the end there, congratulating Brian Goorjian on bringing up 800 combined as he goes over and chats to the Kings CEO, Chris Pongras, to debrief.
Don't let that last little bit overshadow what a great game this was. The back and forth, the offensive execution from both teams. Stuart Breeze was outstanding, but the Kings made so many different fight backs at this point where it looked like the Hawks were going to break away. They should be very happy with the way they played, down 2 key pieces. And not to forget that Jordan Hunter's not far away as well. So the Kings should take a lot of positives out of that. But what a matchup that was for the Freeway Series.
That's now 8 games that they've won at Kudos Bank Arena compared to Sydney's 6 in this matchup. So the venue holding no fears for Illawarra. As we mentioned, when they get together next, it will be at the Gong on New Year's Eve as Matty Russell's got our Foot Locker player of the game.
Yeah, Duop Reith, 18 points and 9 rebounds in game 1. Today, 27 points and 7 rebounds. What have you made of your NBL arrival?
Man, just trying to play hard as a team, just trying to get better each game, and, just trying to keep improving.
After 3 years in Serbia, into the Olympics, what were your expectations coming to this league?
Just try to come here and compete, try to get better as a player, and obviously just try to help the team win.
What impressed the team most about that win, do you think?
It's competitive, Every game we're taking it serious. Obviously, they was taking it serious too. We're taking it serious. Just competitive, it's fun basketball. Everybody wants to see that, so, yeah.
I know it's second since you walked from the court, but where can you improve after the first 2 wins?
Everything, we're going to watch film. Just keep improving. There's a lot we still got to work on. Still got to get better.
How do you feel about your first home game next Friday night at the Sandpit in Wollongong?
Exciting, exciting to play back home with fans. So that should be very exciting.
How aware were you of the banter between the club owners this week and all the build-up? There were a couple of flare-ups. Was that a result of the off-field goings-on this week?
It's just sports, End of the day, everybody's going to compete. When you get on the court here, all the players just want to play, so we're just going to compete. Best team wins.
Duop Reith, it's been some arrival to the NBL. Congratulations, go and enjoy the victory.
Thank you.
It sure has. Matty just reeled off his numbers in the first 2 games. For opposition teams watching this, Pete Hawley, they're going to go to work about how they're going to try and find a way to stop him.
Well, they are. And he's definitely a man who lets his game do the talking, as we can see, but he is so tough to stop. We've seen it all game. We saw it in the first game. He can step out and do this with confidence. Extremely high efficiency to knock down the 3. Gets his own thing there, but look at the floater on the big fella. He's going to be a tough cover, whoever comes up against the Illawarra Hawks. If you put too much focus on him, well, they've got some other good guys who can put some points on the board as well.
27 points as our footlocker player of the game, 7 rebounds as well. There's not many big men in the league shooting the ball like that from outside as well, 3 of 4.
Outstanding game from Duop Reith. He has begun the season in tremendous form, and that's what Gorgon knew he was going to do. Come in and give them something they didn't have last season. Outstanding start for Duop Reith.
This rivalry did not disappoint. Illawarra winners 94-82. Tomorrow, you don't have to search very hard to find the dislike between Melbourne United and the South East Melbourne Phoenix. A semi-final matchup from last year. The Phoenix feel like that had it have gone another way, they could have been the champions last season. They're going to go head-to-head tomorrow afternoon. Barely a spare seat in the house at John Cain Arena. And then after that, the Adelaide 36ers, who got themselves on the board in a much-needed win led by Dusty Hanners, take on the New Zealand Breakers. Will McDowell-White took a body. The Breakers are starting to find a way that they can mesh together. They need a win as well. Sunday Hoops is going to be a massive one in the Hungry Jacks NBL. You're watching the Hungry Jacks NBL full-time at Kudos Bank Arena. The Illawarra Hawks getting the job done 92-84. This game was as advertised. They don't like each other.
Well, they don't, and we're going to see a lot of that in the highlights as well, but some really elite plays on both ends. The defence stepped up when it had to. There was offensive highlights. Stuart Breeze was outstanding. Xavier Cooks, Jarrell Martin got going late. Justinian Jessup really set up the Hawks from the jump, but then the Kings credit them for fighting back numerous times into this ball game. We spoke about the players they're missing. They're key players. That's their starting new point guard, import sensation, Jalen Adams. He wasn't there. RJ Hunter injures himself in warm-ups. Credit the Kings for everyone coming in having an impact. Sean Bruce had 12 points. He had 5 assists to go with it, but then we talk about Cooks and Martin, but Swaka LeBullet showed some great signs, and Angus Glover unfortunately got a bit too heated in the end. We liked the rivalry, everything getting pumped up, because he had an outstanding game. 16.7 rebounds, but unfortunately a lot of that's going to be remembered for what happened at the end.
Duop Reid there, game high, 27 points. His shot making, his ability to put points on the board was a massive factor throughout. And look, the Hawks lost the rebounding count, second week in a row, but they did have a big impact on the offensive glass in that second half. And just 10 assists on their 37 made field goals, the Hawks. A lot of action off the dribble, and they're able to get to the rim and make plays.
We've spoken all afternoon, in fact, the first 2 rounds, about how deep Illawarra are. Antonius Cleveland has just added to that depth as well. He showed his full talent this afternoon. 19 points on 8 of 15, 7 rebounds to go with that.
An absolute full line. And what a great pickup he was during the off-season. We've spoken about it. They wanted another defensive hound on the wing, but a guy who could give him a punch offensively, pushing in transition, and getting to the rim, finishing athletically, but he also has the ability to knock it in from long range. He really put a lot of heat on the rim here, but the short closeout, trying to keep him off the rim, and he's able to score. And 6 combined steals and blocks. 4 steals, 2 blocks tonight. His defensive impact was massive, and he just had a terrific game for his second in the NBL.
We take a look at the ladder. Midway through round 2 here in the Hungry Jacks NBL, you can see the Perth Wildcats undefeated, and now Pete Illawarra undefeated as well. The question, I know it's a small sample size, but how good are these Hawks?
I mean, they're deep. That's the key. And we talk about there's always going to be different things thrown at you during a season. There's going to be injuries. You never know what could pop up. So to be able to have all these other players you can rely on, Gorge will be stoked with that. We only saw 3.5 minutes from Isaac White, who at times, if they're lacking energy or lacking a couple offensive spurts, Gorge will throw him out there, see if he can get hot. They've got everybody who they need in the right place, the right spots. But again, it's hard to look past Duop Reid. Just a huge addition to the Hawks alongside an already great duo of Jessup and Harvey. They're so well-rounded. Once they have a bit more time together, they're going to be so hard to beat.
They're in action next. On Friday night of next week, they take on the New Zealand Breakers. Cairns and Tasmania still to come here on our Saturday night doubleheader in the Hungry Jacks NBL. That one's going to be very interesting. Up next, though, the throwdown. The boys are locked and loaded, ready to go. Drew Jones, Kane Pittman and Damon Lowry to break it all down.
It's game time and I'm up one. Name something I ain't done. Name a body that's my type. Air Jordan, I'm from the flight. I'm next level, I'm franchise. I'm top tier, I'm that guy. I'm the man of the year. I'm a man with no fear. I think like a shark. The way I move so sharp. I so hard for the team. That's how I play my part. I'm solid like the foundation. I'm dedicated to greatness.
This program is brought to you by Hungry Jacks and Bunnings Trade.